What's up, gamers? Behaviour has released a forum post outlining what we can expect to see regarding the upcoming Tools of Torment Mid-Chapter update. I'm not going to discuss all of them, but rather I'm going to touch on the topics that has once again lit a fire underneath the toxic cesspool that is DBD Twitter, where the survivor main versus killer main debates are running rampant. I am mostly a killer main, but I do also play survivor, and I'm going to do my best to offer as much of an unbiased opinion as possible. Before I get into the perk and mechanics changes, can I get some Fs in the comments for the Hillbilly? So, Behaviour has decided to take a pass at Billy regarding his overheat mechanic, in which the amount of heat generated by the chainsaw will be reduced while starting to rev and continuing to rev the chainsaw. Also, the amount of heat generated by the chainsaw will be slightly increased during a sprint, making longer sprints overheat the chainsaw more quickly. They doubled down on this dumpster fire by nerfing Billy's most used add-ons, the Doom and Death engravings, decreasing their movement speed and increasing the overheat. Who asked for this? Seriously. There's like 5 people in the entire game that play Billy on the regular, and as a survivor, you could go months without seeing a Billy in your matches. Why Behaviour chose to take a hard look at Billy when Blight still has Alchemist Ring, Blighted Crow, and Blighted Rat, and Spirit still has Mother-Daughter Ring is beyond me. This didn't need to happen. Look, I'm booty cheeks with Billy, so I don't play him often, but as a survivor, I love going against Billies. I like chases. Billy likes to chase. If anything, do a buffed pass for Billy's add-ons and get rid of the overheat mechanic. Make more people want to play him. Behaviour has to take the L on this one, and see that it doesn't hit the live servers. This brings us to our next controversial topic, healing. Behaviour has decided that the time that it will now take to heal another survivor will take 24 seconds by default, whereas previously it was 16 seconds. Not entirely sure why they decided to make this change, but I have a feeling that it has to do with what we're about to talk about, which is their attempt at rebalancing medkits across the board. So let's take a look at them. All medkits will now have 24 charges by default, regardless of rarity, allowing 1 heal before they are depleted. It sounds like the direction that Behaviour wanted to take was that the different rarities of medkits will now affect how quickly you heal other survivors with your medkit. Now, Behaviour likes to throw around percentages, so instead of throwing out percentages, what I've decided to do is actually give you times. So the Camping Aid Kit, the brown medkit, will increase the altruistic healing speed by 20%, which means you will heal another survivor with your brown medkit in 19.2 seconds as opposed to 24 seconds. The yellow medkit, the first aid kit, will increase the altruistic healing speed by 25%. So you will now heal another survivor in 18 seconds as opposed to 24 seconds. The emergency medkit, the green medkit, will increase altruistic healing speed by 30%. So instead of healing the survivor in 24 seconds, you will heal them in 16.8 seconds. And lastly, the ranger medkit, the purple medkit, will increase the altruistic healing speed by 35%, which will allow you to heal another survivor in 15.6 seconds as opposed to 24 seconds. Behaviour did say that they would also be bringing medkit add-ons in line with the change, but they didn't go into a lot of detail. They didn't say that the add-ons that increase speed wouldn't apply to self-healing, so until we know better, we have to assume that they will. If the existing add-ons will scale, we can expect to see the following changes. Butterfly Tape will increase the speed you heal either yourself or another survivor by 5%, bringing a full self-heal to 22.8 seconds. Medical Scissors will increase the speed you heal by 15%, making a full heal take 20.4 seconds. Bandages will scale up to add an additional 12 charges to your medkit. Gauze Roll will scale up to add an additional 18 charges to your medkit. And Gel Dressings will scale up to add an additional 24 charges to your medkit, allowing your medkit to heal you twice. Behaviour did say that under no circumstance will you be able to get more than 2 full heals with any medkit. You also have the Outlier add-ons, once again scaling to the new numbers. Abdominal dressings will increase the speed you heal by 25%, making a full heal take 18 seconds, but these will also decrease your charges by 24, so you can really only effectively use this with gel dressings, which I think is the case currently. You also have self-adherent wraps, which will increase your healing speed by 5%, making a full heal take 22.8 seconds, and will also add 12 charges to your medkit. Obviously, those numbers that I just gave you for healing speed are for self-heals. If you're looking to calculate the time that it will take you to heal another survivor, I have to assume that these add-ons will stack with the speed according to the rarity of the medkit that you bring, and you can go ahead and figure that one out. So, what are my thoughts about the healing change? I think this one is a bit overtuned. Don't get me wrong, I think toolboxes and medkits are currently some of the most broken things in the game, and they definitely needed to be addressed. They did that with medkits, and I agree with it. However, in doing so, they also nerfed the base healing speed. So, using nothing but your hands, it will take you 24 seconds to heal another survivor. That seems like a little too long to me, given that it puts 2 survivors out of commission. I can see maybe 20 seconds. But then there's the medkits, and I'm not sure their code can handle the disconnect between base speed charges versus medkit speed charges, so maybe just leave altruistic healing alone at 16 seconds and make it to where you can't use a medkit on somebody else. Make medkits personal use only. I don't know. Also, I'm not even going to entertain the go-to, well, no, it'll take self-care users 13.5 minutes of sitting in the corner argument. Look, just don't use self-care. It's 2023. If you still feel like you need to use it, then I don't know. Build your entire loadout around it and fly your flag. Anyway, I guess we'll see how all this shakes things up. Up next, we have a whole bunch of perk changes on the horizon. I'm not going to go through all of them. Instead, I'm just going to pick out a few of the most noteworthy and controversial ones, and we'll go from there. So, since we just got done talking about healing, it's only appropriate that to start off our perk discussion, we talk about the changes that are going to be made to Boon's Circle of Healing. Going forward, Boon's Circle of Healing will no longer allow survivors to heal without a medkit, so they're removing the ability to self-heal inside of a Boon. Instead, it will provide a 50% healing speed bonus to healing others, so that means it's going to take you 12 seconds to heal another survivor inside of a Boon, as opposed to 24 seconds. Additionally, this bonus is not going to apply to healing done with a medkit, and they're going to show auras of the injured survivors that are within the Boon's range, so, I mean, whatever. I'm not sure why they did this. They basically gutted this perk. I do think Circle of Healing needed a nerf. It absolutely did. It's the most powerful Boon out there, and something needed to be done to it, but I don't think that this was it. I think not allowing people to self-heal within the Boon's aura is not the move. I think that should stay. However, maybe a more appropriate change would be to reduce the size of the aura that the Boon puts out, and or reduce the healing speed that you get while you're inside of a Boon. That would make more sense to me than the changes that they've proposed. Additionally, like, from a killer main standpoint, I would love to see them do something about the aura, in the sense that maybe they make it linear as opposed to spherical. And for any killer out there that's had to walk all the way to the top of Ironworks to snuff out a well-placed totem that's been booned, You feel my pain. However, if I'm going to make that argument, then I also have to concede the fact that things like Skull Merchant's drones shouldn't manifest through floors. So that's the thing. I'm not sure what this nerf should have been, but I don't think that this is the appropriate nerf. I think the self-heal aspect needs to stay. Do something about the range of the aura. Do something about the efficiency in which you can heal. All of that would be a fine and acceptable nerf. But again, this just isn't it. And I can't for the life of me believe that this is going to persist onto live servers, but I guess we'll see. Moving on to Dead Hard, another controversial perk nerf. Dead Hard will now only activate after you safely unhook a survivor. Everything else has remained the same, the exhaustion, the endurance, etc. But if you want to use this perk, you now have to first safely unhook a survivor in order to get it to activate. I know that I said that I was going to be unbiased mostly, and I've been trying my best to be that way, but my inner killer main here is rejoicing. This perk definitely needed a nerf. There's nothing worse than entering a chase with a survivor, getting into that mind game, and then watching a survivor either get outplayed or create a mistake, and all they have to do is hit their E key, and then suddenly they're back into a brand new chase, and it just wastes a bunch of time. I don't know that this was the appropriate nerf. I don't know what would be. Again, I just know that the perk did need a nerf. I would also accept that the perk stays the same, although once you get hit using Dead Hard, you don't gain the speed boost, making it more difficult for the survivor to actually string together another tile, entering in a brand new chase, etc., etc. Because this needed to stop being so heavily relied on, and I'm glad that it's actually being changed. No, it's a controversial take. I know that all the survivors out there that heavily rely on Dead Hard would vehemently disagree, but I think by and large, for the health of the game, this needed a nerf. Whether or not that this was the appropriate nerf, I don't know, but it did need something, and this is a good start. Moving on to the killer side, perks that have been affected, we have Call of Brine. Call of Brine is going to be changed to tone down its power. They will have reduced the additional regression speed to 125%. It was previously 200%. I do not agree with this change. The perk is fine by itself. I will, once I get done explaining the other perk changes, I will kind of give an overview as to why I feel like this nerf was not necessary. Next up is Overcharge. To bring it in line with the other perks, we reduced the maximum regression speed to 130%. It was 200%. Meaning it would take longer for the regression rate to become beneficial, so at the same time we've increased the starting regression speed to 85%. It was 75% to help offset this. Additionally, the penalty for missing the skill check has been reduced to 4%. It was 5%. Again, I don't really agree with this. I will get into it at the end. But it sounds like they took 70% off the top and then added 10% at the start. Reduced the 1% on the skill check, which is negligible, so I'm not really concerned about that part. But again, I will explain after I get done with the next perk as to why I feel like these nerfs were not really appropriate. Pain Res is the next perk that found its way to be smacked down. This is also getting, well, they say a slight rework, which they actually made the perk literally unusable now. The perk starts with 4 tokens, and the first time each survivor is hooked on a Scourge hook, the generator with the most progress will explode and lose progress. and it's still 15%, which is fine, but you can now only use this 4 times. I'm not sure if when they say each survivor, if they mean each unique survivor, or if they just mean you have 4 tokens, you hook 4 survivors, you get 4 uses out of it. So I just don't see how anybody would use this anymore. They basically gutted this perk into not usable. They just wanted this out of the meta. I don't know why they would do this to this perk, because in my opinion, this was probably the most balanced and the most easily workaroundable slowdown that killers had available to them. But again, I'm about to get into that, so here's kind of my thoughts on the slowdowns. So Behaviour went and they nerfed Call of Brine, Overcharge, and completely gutted Pain Res, and what I don't understand about that is that these perks were fine on their own. And the problem here is that the game allows you to stack their effects. And if Behaviour would just eliminate the ability to stack their effects, then you would not run into a situation where you would have people stacking 3 and 4 slowdown perks to try to gain an advantage in the match. So I really wish that they would have went that route as opposed to nerfing the individual perks, because this just doesn't make any sense to me. I don't feel like this was the appropriate direction to go in. Also, one thing that's very alarming to me is that they nerfed all of the generator regression perks, with the exception of Jolt. That's all we have left as killer mains. But they didn't touch any of the survivor generator progression perks. So you still have your hyper focus, your stakeout, your friendly competition, your prove thyself, your potential energy, and they all are strong perks that haven't been touched. And now killers don't have any way to combat those things, so I feel like this is a disgusting imbalance. You can't affect one side of the equation without affecting the other side of the equation. That's not what balance is about, and Behaviour needs to understand this. And I think they really got this wrong. So, I mean, we'll see how things shake out, but I don't see this as being the appropriate way to go. Alright everybody, well that was my take on the most controversial changes that we can expect to see in the Tools of Torment Mid-Chapter update that's going to be hitting PTB, I believe, next week. A lot of hot takes, a lot of arguing back and forth, a lot of toxicity revolving this, a lot of us versus them taking sides, a lot of just things that are completely unhealthy. Again, rest in peace Billy, and a couple of perk changes that didn't need to be nerfed so badly. But anyway, here we are. We're gonna have to see how it plays out, and hopefully if it plays out poorly, it doesn't make it to live servers, and or if it does, it gets fixed really quickly. But we're gonna have to see. Sound off in the comments. Let me know what you guys think of this update, and we'll catch you on the next one, gamers. Take care.